because this is a linear model, because we've said this is basically just a tech movie studio, it just doesn't work. Net subscriber additions, 2.2 million versus 3.57 million. That's the thing everyone looks for. There's just so much competition in this space. I think it's just hard to command the kind of premiums that Netflix has over the long term. Favorite on this show is talking about how bloated Netflix is. And bam, they just came out with their earnings. And they missed. They're missing on subscriber additions and earnings. And their stock is down over 5% at this point. They got $1.74 instead of the $2.14, so they missed by 40 cents on their earnings per share. Revenue was a little bit above where they expected it. They beat that by $60 million. Net subscriber additions, 2.2 million versus 3.57 million. That's the thing everyone looks for. In the same quarter last year, Netflix added 6.8 million subscribers. So you'd think to yourself, everyone's locked up, right? We saw Q1. We saw them have a huge beat Q1. Huge beat Q1. Look at this. See that? Boom. That's Q1. This guy. They had over 15 million subs. Q1. And then their second highest subscriber addition ever. 10 million subs Q2. Q3, 2.2 million. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of competition. You can't have this level of competition in a platform winner-take-all market where you have supply-side network effects. You can't have it. It just doesn't work. But because this is a linear model, because we've said this is basically just a tech movie studio, it's a linear business. There is no supply-side network effect. I think there is stuff that Netflix could or should be doing to generate a supply-side network effect, but well, for some reason, they're not doing it. I think they could do it. It just doesn't seem to be in their strategy for some reason. And they have positive free cash flow, but they're not making as many movies. And now they're saying for 2021, they expect to have negative free cash flow again, because then they're going to start making more movies. They had to halt a lot of their production. So it said it expects to be slightly negative on free cash flow in Q4 as production restarts. So they freed up all this cash because they're not making any shows. It's not because magically the business is great. And again, I think Netflix, like many businesses, right? Like many of these high growth businesses, the multiple is a derivative of how much growth and margin and defensibility the business has. And the problem for Netflix is that its competitive environment and competitive landscape is much tougher than that of a dominant platform monopoly like YouTube. They're actually roughly the same size business, but strategically are very different business models and have a very different competitive landscape. Meanwhile, Disney Plus, by the way, you see, the new Mandalorian show is coming out right at the end of October. They have a lot of the kind of annual subscribers are up for renewal like beginning of November. So now, boom, end of October, they're dropping the new Mandalorian season. Who's going to cancel their Disney Plus subscription when you have new Mandalorian season that's out, right? Disney Plus has over 60 million subscribers worldwide, and that is basically in a year since launching. Actually, that stat is from August of 2020. So again, it's much harder to get that level of traction, even if you are a world famous movie content powerhouse in a content platform model to compete against a YouTube versus competing against a Netflix. So Netflix could still have great growth, but will Netflix's multiple? We've looked at their PE multiple, their multiple versus Disney, and basically it's way higher, and said, okay, well, do you think this is going to stand up? And I don't think it's going to stand up as over the long term, as the competition just continues to heat up. Now you got you got Time Warner and HBO Max in the race. You got Peacock in the race. I mean, these services just launched this year. Disney Plus is barely a year old. These guys aren't these guys. I mean, by the incumbent competitors, they're not just going to shutter these services. They're investing in these things over the long haul. These are massive companies. Comcast, Time Warner, AT&T. I mean, not to mention you have Apple and Amazon and Google. I think Walmart is doing right. Like, there's just so much competition in this space. I think it's just hard to command the kind of premiums that Netflix has over the long term. So we'll continue to track it. Netflix is down. Hi, this is Alex from Winner Take All. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the content. Feel free to leave a comment, ask us questions, and definitely make sure to join us on our next live stream.